Indie games and Metroidvanias go together like 80s metal bands and hairspray, and I have no idea why. That's not like a joke. If you know why independent developers seemingly love this genre, please let me know because I sincerely find it fascinating. Whatever the reason, games like Bloodstained Ritual of the Night and Hollow Knight have pretty firmly stamped the relationship between bedroom game dev and the chase to match the legacy and standard established by Castlevania Symphony of the Night. One indie Metroidvania that has had me firmly by the balls over the past few weeks is The Druid, developed and published by NAO Studios out of the University of Technology, Arts and Design in Madrid, Spain. Yes, I'm not pulling your leg. This is a student game, and my goodness, is it liable to shatter whatever preconceived notions you might have about that moniker. Playing as the eponymous Forest Forager, you're called upon to defeat a spreading corruption that has begun to plague the world thanks to an evil entity by the name of Morgan, who promptly uses said corruption to kill you. But that's okay, because so long as you've got a connection with your spiritual sugar daddy, Dagda, you come back to life no worse for wear. Studious viewers will likely pick up on the fact that the Druid makes heavy usage of Celtic themes, with both Dagda and Morgan being figures from traditional Irish mythology. This is pretty neat, being a theme you don't usually see these types of games draw from. It could stand to be a bit more important overall, but it's a unique aspect nonetheless. The Druid is something of a mix between a Metroidvania, featuring all the multi-leveled platforming and combat one would expect, and a roguelike with procedural level generation and RNG, mainly in the form of the combat powers at your disposal. As you traverse through each level, stabbing an assortment of angry mushrooms, giants, and corrupted abominations with your sharp stick, you come across altars, which bestow you with skills and passive bonuses with which to better your fight against evil. These upgrade options, of which there are a ton, with the game boasting 54 individual choices for what I can only imagine is an obscene number of final combinations, are completely random and all act in different ways. Some let you cast spells, while others increase your defenses and survivability. Each altar grants 3 choices, and you'll need these boons if you want any chance of defeating the bosses at the end of each level and progressing onwards. The enchantments are based on various elements and the form those elements take, granting different effects depending on whether you equip them to your hands, head, or body, meaning the same element can be used in multiple ways. This lets you best decide how something might fit into your build, and it's especially important that you take the time to learn and understand how different powers interact with one another to make the best of what is offered to you. As can be expected with this type of system, you'll very rarely hit the nuts to get everything you want for a particular build, but success is more so determined by how you use what is given to you, to make the most of less than optimal loadouts to succeed. These enhancements are really the only way you'll be dealing with enemies. There's no other weapons or armor to equip, nor are there any usable items, so be sure to choose wisely. To go with the altars, found in each level are cauldrons, which allow you to refill your potion, a finite resource that restores health, along with these trees of life. Trees of life do one of 2 things. They can either restore your health for free, or give you some essence, which is basically this game's form of currency. Yeah, what? Did you think this stuff was free? You might be saving the world, but that doesn't mean the gods aren't going to get their share, you know what I'm saying? Essence is primarily earned through defeating enemies and is used at both altars and cauldrons. The Tree of Life presents what is likely the biggest conundrum in the game. Health is hard to come by for the most part, so do you take the healing, or knowing that the price of altars and cauldrons steadily increases as you progress further, do you get paid? Neither option is really better than the other, it mostly comes down to what situation you find yourself in. If you're on pixel health, then you should probably heal, but if you're not comfortable with your build or just simply think it isn't good enough to get you through, then you might want the essence so that you can try to find something better. Learning how to act and when is key here, because if you don't have any health, you're going to have a bad time. But if you don't have the resources necessary to equip yourself with the tools to defeat enemies, you're also going to have a bad time. And you will have plenty of time to learn all of this, what to do and when, because you are going to die. A lot. See, the goal of the Druid is to make it through its 3 levels, being the forest, the frigid mountains, and the last Heart of Corruption-esque area. Sounds like a simple task, until you realize that it all must be done in one go. See, while Dagda is capable of resurrecting you, a checkpoint system wasn't in the budget, meaning that when you die, no matter what level you're on, you go all the way back to the start of the forest, losing all of your upgrades in the process. This is, in a lot of ways, a pretty brutal and unforgiving game. Outside of the short tutorial at the beginning, you're largely left to figure things out on your own, with many of the mechanics and obstacles presented without explanation. The only way to discover what brings success is through trial and error, which will, more often than not, lead to you getting yourself killed. But that's fine, because while you might not have known that the dragon had a breath attack before it burnt you to a crisp, you sure as hell do now and can be more than prepared for it on your next go around. What the Druid does so masterfully is that it makes failure fun. Every failed run lets you get just a little bit better. You learn more about how enemies and abilities work, how to best deal with the bosses, and what to expect from each level individually. Death doesn't frustrate, it only makes you want to go again, and before long, a short session turns into hours as you're slowly roped into refusing to let the game beat you. It lets you get a little bit further with each run, only to then pull the rug out from under you with a new challenge that only then makes you want to traverse the levels once more. And that obsession is going to be driven by the fact that when you screw up, it's on you. The controls are responsive and the mechanics ironclad. There's no arbitrary MacGuffin that might ruin a run at any given moment, nor any variations within the levels themselves. Once you've got your footing and are suitably acquainted with the task ahead, any failure is entirely your fault. Despite this, you will still fail, mainly through overconfidence, because let's be honest, overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer. Just when you think you've got it all figured out, the Druid will step right in to remind you that you're playing on its turf, not your own. But don't think that it doesn't present you with every opportunity to succeed. If you walk the line properly, done through making the correct decisions in relation to when to play safe and when to be greedy, and make the most of what abilities are offered to you, then you'll find success far more than failure. It's because that success is determined by your own wit and decision making that it feels so fulfilling to attain, elevating this somewhat simplistic and overall short game into something far beyond itself. Combine all of this with just how good it looks, with fluid animations and a great use of color, and you've got something special. I seriously love that this game manages to use color, and quite a bit of it, while still managing to feel suitably dark and gritty. It's almost like the visuals are matte, which I know probably doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but it's the best way I can think of to describe the graphics. Everything's kind of dull. Not in a bad way, but in a way that makes the landscapes look like they've been sanded once painted as opposed to polished. I could do without the random fog that never seems to disappear, and I wasn't the biggest fan of the music, it's just a bit too empty for my taste, but I really do love how this game presents itself for the most part. Did I mention that it's free? Yes, as of the posting of this video, the Druid is completely free on Steam, requiring that you do nothing more than go to its page and hit the download button. Better yet, the developers have been updating it fairly regularly with new goodies and bug fixes. Truth be told, I played this game almost immediately after it was released, the only thing stopping me from making a video about it sooner being wanting to see whether or not it would continue to receive support. But at this point, I can firmly say that if you want a new Metroidvania that's going to make you learn your lesson the hard way, but is all the more enjoyable because of it, then you shouldn't look any further than the Druid.